Welcome to today's collective reading. This is TrinityGaiaOracle. While I do this reading, I'm going to be pacing, so you should be able to hear my feet as I walk. Some readers, when they channel, they do things like chew gum, or they use tarot cards. It is a way of removing the physical so that more of the energy from the higher can communicate through you. It's a distraction for the brain, for the mind, for the logic side, to be grounded so that the intuitive side can fully engage. As you can tell from the title of this reading, this is going to be a pretty profound download. Now, there's quite a bit that has come through that I'm clearly directed not to share. But, that being said, I will do my best to be out of the way for this message to come through coherently and with a logical thread for you to be able to follow and hear. So I'm going to present a bit of a story. I'm going to start with that. So you're in an amphitheater. You're in a stadium. You're in a large space where you would think that everyone talking at the same time, no one could hear anyone. But for some reason, one voice, everyone hears. And slowly, every voice quiets as they realize what's going on doesn't make sense. Why can we all hear this one voice? And they pinpoint the voice that is speaking, the being that it is coming from. There's no microphone. There's no visible technology for this. Why can we all hear this one person over everything? And when this person speaks, it's triggering, and yet it's liberating at the same time. Triggering in that if you wanted to, you could choose to be offended, and that could close you to the knowledge that is actually coming. Because there is a force at play that has decided now is the time for this truth to be made known to everyone in this space. That this is the answer to the questions that they don't even know how to ask yet, but that is niggling at their mind as to why some things just don't make sense. And if they just understood this one piece, then everything would click into place. But in that moment, a bit of resentment, a bit of jealousy, a bit of insecurity is fired within these beings, in this space. These beings think of themselves as sages, as priests, as priestesses, leaders of spiritual wisdom, healing, way showers, people that have been through hell and back and have come out the other side knowing who they are. They know their peace is within that knowledge. So for them to be in this space, in this company, and feel those emotions, a wise person who has been through hell and back and knows who they are, knows that this is an opportunity to retrieve a piece of themselves that only this person can give them. Because it's not really about the person. It's about a wisdom that they hold, that the divine took great care in molding every facet of this individual's life for their soul to awaken to this knowledge, to be able to be heard amongst and above the masses in this space. The wise person can observe this happening within them and know it's an opportunity to find a new level of peace. The wisdom that this person has been perfectly crafted to be able to be the perfect speaker for this. They're not perfect. They're no better than anybody else in this stadium, in this mass group. The metaphor stadium is because we don't have another word for a space that is contained to contain mass amounts of people. But we can all relate to it. We've all been to a ball game or a football game or a theater that is this large. We can all understand that constant drone of voice. The lights go out, the show begins. And even then, there's still noise, constant hum. This voice is heard above it all. Everyone quiet. Some are struggling more with reaching for that wisdom than others. And they look to the person on their left and the person on their right. And they take inspiration from the strength that they see in those beside them. If they are struggling more, they help what they can. They make this extra effort to anchor in who they are and open to the healing that is about to come. You are as strong as the individual next to you. Perfect reference, the movie 300. The warriors that state your greatest ally, your greatest weapon is the man beside you. And this highlights the core of this. How many in that moment felt triggered? Because the human concept is gendered, binary, man, woman, generations of wounding, the unfairness of the projections and the stereotypes. We are taught to see ones and zeros, binary. We are beyond the physical. We are spiritual beings that have chosen to be in the physical. We are light beings. We, in our light form, don't have the concept of physical gender like we do when we are physically here. That is a facet of the physical incarnation, and it has been a weapon that has been used against us to make us fight our own nature. We are both. We're not one or the other. It is a reason, the very reason why man and woman are a thing, because we needed to experience contrast to better understand ourselves. Shakti, Parvati, Shiva. Life, creation. In the beginning, there was void, there was darkness, and then there was light. In the darkness, you have everything you need to create life. What was that light? It was love. Love is life. The beings in this space that hear this resonate deep into their soul. You're a warrior of light. And what I mean by that is no matter what darkness came at you, trying to snuff out your light, you still reached for hope. You still reached for faith. You still reached to not close down, shut out light, and go fully dark. You still fought that battle. You came out the other side, a peaceful warrior. You know who you are. That is your peace. Whatever chaos is going on around you, give me chaos. You know who you are. You know what you stand for, what you'll tolerate, what you won't. You know right from wrong. You trust your own feelings, emotions, perceptions, intuition. You know when shit's not right. And you can't lie to yourself because you know that is your divine compass pointing you in the correct direction. The love is this way. The love is this way. And to ignore that, you can't. You can't ignore that. Every being in this space, they know that there is a duality within both of us. Both of us. We all have a guide. If we're lucky enough, they've incarnated in our lives. Possibly, we've met them in many different people. They are our teacher. They are our mirror. Depending on the scenario you find yourself in, yeah, maybe you're more assertive. Maybe you're more, and I'm tearing down this in my life because it is bad for me. It is toxic. It is unfair to those that I love, and I will not tolerate it. I choose to deconstruct this. That is Shiva. But Shiva dances with Parvati, with Shakti. Because whenever you take something down, you build it in a new way. You create something else, something you choose because you know that love is directing you to create this. You're inspired to create something better, something more of love, something that allows you, even in your peace, to experience joy. Joy and happiness, you cannot maintain that state of being, but you can maintain peace. You can know who you are. So you take down that takes away from the opportunities for you to experience joy, and you build with what you take down. You rebuild what gives you more possibilities to experience joy. You are both Shiva and Shakti, Parvati. You are both. These mirrors, whenever you make an adjustment, given the situation, wherever they are, however they present themselves in your life, they are perfectly counterbalancing that. Because it's also perfectly what's needed where they're at. You are just as much their teacher as they are yours. That's why they say, you never know when you're going to encounter the Spirit of Jesus. You never know when you're denying the healing that you need, that you've been praying for. You never know when you're denying the very thing that you've asked for. You never know. So when those situations present themselves, you have to trust your discernment. If you have shut down your openness to love, your discernment is off. The people in this space, they haven't done that. They've been tried. They've been tested. They have been put through the ropes, and they have found their center. So they ask collectively of this being, why should we listen to you? The metaphor of the sheep and the shepherd. In this moment, the receptive aspect, the Shakti, the creation of that is being spoken, is triggering, healing. It is creating a space for them to ask why. Give us the healing. Tell us why. And the answer, it's not about that, boys. It's about you asking that question so that the Shakti and the Shiva can be effective. There's a reason why every archangel that is male or female has a male or female counterpart. They're actually one being. But as human beings, we have to separate them into binary in order to relate. Just like with the shepherd and the lost sheep. At the time that metaphor was commonly written, it was common sense. Every person in that culture completely understood it because they all lived it. They all knew it. It was constantly in their face. It was their way of life. No one could miss the metaphor. This is how the divine speaks to us. No one can miss this metaphor. With the lost sheep, there's a reason why the divine is set as the shepherd. We, in this space, are the immune system of the divine. And we have been hungry for this knowledge, for this wisdom, for this healing, to go out and create healing, balance, to protect that we love fiercely and with a light heart, willing to find the levity, the laughter, all of it. That is peace. Sometimes when there is a sheep that is lost, the time the divine finds this sheep, maybe they're too far. Maybe the most merciful thing would be to allow them to no longer be in pain. But that sheep is never actually lost. It just changes form. We are all stardust. Do you think that stardust isn't sentient? Maybe to our definition, as humans. But in truth, without stardust, we wouldn't be sentient. So why many people relate to a loved one passing on is not the end. They still exist. They're just in a different form. And we maybe don't even know what that form is. That's between them and Source, them and the divine. This concept has both Shakti and Shiva present in that as well. Masculine, feminine within that as well. The desire to protect that is ours. The need to comfort, nurture, make safe. That sentence, those words, it's not separate. You cannot cut man and woman down the middle and say they have nothing in common. Because we're human. We have a lot in common. Whether you're a man or a woman, we all live here. We all are experiencing one another. We all have to live with one another. So we have a lot in common. It's that we don't have in common that allows us to learn about ourselves. The contrast is where the wisdom is found. There was a saying in Robin Hood, the one with Kevin Costner, and the sheik, I think it was the sheik, who said, Allah loves variety. Life is far more complicated than binary. We all know this. Diversity is life. Variety is life. There's love within all of it. So when you ask, why should we listen to you in mass of this being? When this gathering, this great space asks of this one being why they should listen to this person. This person stands apart. This person is the black sheep. This person has an experience on the opposite side that none of them maybe have had. They've walked a very different, unique path. And their voice and their healing is needed in that moment. And it is asked for with, why should we listen to you? I keep repeating this because the gravity of the wisdom that is about to be shared needs the emphasis. The concept of human gender, masculine, feminine, man, woman, it is holding you back as light beings. If you look at computer code, the ones and the zeros, that's the physical form of the man, the physical form of the woman, and all the bullshit that comes along with society projecting everything that it thinks one should be and zero should be. And you can't divorce your human experience from this, sadly. But as a light being, you can. You're the pixel of light in the one and the zero. You're the light. There is no difference. You are beyond the one and the zero. You are the very thing that even allows it to be communicated as a one or a zero. You are both. You may be in a physical form of a man or a woman, but make no mistake about it. You are stronger for valuing the duality within you of masculine and feminine. Tying back to the archangel dynamic. I've heard this question a few times recently, and the divine has made it earmarked. This is of importance. Keep this in mind. I understand now why, as the speaker, it is there. The female archangel, Hope, she's the greatest weapon. Faith, the greatest weapon. Because she inspires as a receptive, dynamic energy, the wounding in those around them to show itself because they think that she's weak. But they don't know. They don't have a clue what they're actually dealing with. Because she has a Shiva. And that Shiva, the moment they expose themselves, the demons, the traumas, the triggers, the Shiva is able to come in and go, this is a tower for this hurt in you. This has made you feel bad. It has made you feel less than. It has made you feel like you're not enough. And I'm highlighting that for you. Because you know, looking at hope and faith in your life and feeling negatively about that, that is not something that you want to be. So those that ask the question of why should we listen to you? And you're going, oh, the arrogance. Oh, the ego. Oh, the why isn't it me? Why am I not the one that everyone hears? Why am I not enough? This is the path that goes down. This is a part of you that you get to reclaim right now. And I invite you to own it. You are all, each, loved and valued and fought for with blood, sweat, and tears, eons, the beginning of time to the end of it. The divine has loved you and has heard you in this moment and has made the heavens and the earth move for you to hear this truth. You are that black sheep. You are that speaker. You are light. You are all a part of the divine. And in walking in that light, those that are separate from it, they will lay their seeds in your doubt, in your insecurity, in your jealousy, and they will desire to make that chasm grow, to divorce you from the truth of love that you have fought for, to maintain your connection to in lifetime through lifetime, through every trauma, every hurt, every battle that you chose to believe in hope, to not relinquish that, to not give up that connection to your faith, that tomorrow will be better than today, that the next moment will be better than this one. You are all the black sheep. And there are your own amphitheaters, your own grand halls and grand spaces where you will speak this truth. Your own parallel dimensions and realities in different layers of existence, hungry for you to be the black sheep. Because they are loved, and you are the channel through which that wisdom can come through. There is no separation when you walk in light. There is no binary when you are a light being. When you're awakened to that truth, there is no binary. There is a value of duality. And when you are a light being, you don't divorce yourself from Shakti or Shiva. You own them both in love. You know them as yourself. You see them in every action, every choice. They are archetypes, symbols, words, meanings. They are far more than beyond what we have written knowledge of. They are far beyond the human experience. You are of the divine when you choose to embrace the hope that being triggered into wisdom to heal. You are of the divine. You are a peaceful warrior and you are a healer. This moment, hear yourself in these words. I am love. And I choose that path every day, every moment, every lifetime, every form that I should take. I am love. I am that light. When this is your truth, you know that those that have chosen the path where they are not connected, they're seeking to be reconnected when they come towards you. It is the moth to the flame. They want to be reconnected. It's why the little boy on the playground, the stereotype where he picks on the girl he likes, he wants her attention. But he's a little boy. He doesn't realize that she now wants nothing to do with him. So he's gotten further away from his goal. He now holds a negative role, not a positive one. You can see this in people around you that are well beyond the years of a little boy on a playground. They have young souls. They may be your elder on earth, but they have a young soul. And you trigger them to know this, to heal, to grow. You are a vessel of light, of love, of the divine. You are a light being, and you inspire light wherever you go, whoever you interact with, everything you do. Even if you're displaying your imperfection, you are inspiring someone else to embrace the concept that they really just don't need to be as hard as they are on themselves, that they're not perfect. They see you and they go, I see myself in you. It may take you lifetimes to fully integrate this into a point where you are that black sheep in that giant space filled with peaceful warriors that quiet because only your voice is being heard, because your voice is the voice that has the answer to all their prayers and their pain, and that facets so they can go out and be the kick-ass, autoimmune, not autoimmune. Ooh, so you could be the oh my gosh, they're having a hard time with me right now. So you could kick ass as the immune system of the divine to bring back those lost sheep, to bring those moths to the flame so they have light, so they know the divine, so they're not on the outside anymore, wondering what it is like to know love, and because they don't know what it is, they go even further away, yet they can't resist knowing. It is such a tug-of-war. The autoimmune. Wow. Right now, this is a fresh one, and it's coming through right now because it needs to be talked about. It needs to be shared. When you encounter someone that you trigger, and you're just occupying space, and they choose not to move beyond it, they are acting in a fashion as a cell in the body of the divine that is attacking itself. You, as an awakened light being, a peaceful warrior who knows themselves, can model by not being moved by their trigger. I encountered a story. It was a Buddhism story. It was a Buddhist monk. And I don't remember all the details, but the point that was really gotten across was you had an individual that stood for just about everything that was the opposite of the teachings of Buddha. And this person was a very angry individual and was put on this task by their leader to come at this monk and not just verbally attack or even strike. They were given the task to kill this monk because this monk challenged their hatred and their doctrine. This man stopped the last moment because that monk was a peaceful warrior. Now, I hope that most of you never encounter this scenario, anything like it. But to know of it is to be better, to be wiser, to be more knowledgeable for it. Because this may have been your life in some other lifetime. This could have been something you lived. So here's this piece of you. The monk saw the pain, saw the guilt, saw the loathing, saw the self-hatred, saw the pain in this person. And instead of reacting fear, instead of reacting anger, instead of seeking to defend himself in a violent manner, he hugged this individual. All of this love was blooming within this monk's body language, within his energy. And that's what stopped this individual from killing him. And then this individual, who was taught that to be, especially in this group, whose doctrine was hate for anything other than what they were, that to be a man, you never cry. Notice how I saved that note for now. Because only now does it matter on the human level for you to understand. Women, we're taught don't cry either. You're always too emotional, but it's different for a man. It's more acceptable for us to get giddy over cute pumpkins on Halloween than it is for men. And that is pulled from a joke by a gentleman by the name of Bill Burr. And I hear ya. I'm pretty sure all of us can relate to some extent. He cried. There was divine intervention in that moment. For the first time, this individual felt truly seen. And instead of being met with hatred and rage, he was met with the love that he had been missing his entire life in this monk. to have that. He finally embraced his Shakti, his hope, his Parvati, his compassion, his receptiveness to love and light. He went towards that flame, that fire, that light, and that monk. He couldn't resist it. He didn't want to do what he was doing, but for whatever reason, he was the individual given that assignment. Also, divine intervention. His light turned back on in that moment, and it blazed so brightly. This may not be your path in your life, but look to the person to your left and the person to your right and ask yourself, do you know their story? Do you know their suffering? Do you know the pain that they have overcome? Because you're just as strong as them. And they're just as strong as you. So you got to get to know one another so you can make sure that you're strengthening one another. To be a light being is to remove that separates, to appreciate the duality, to better understand the commonality. And that you could quote me on, because that came straight from Source. And Source wants credit. Make that an anonymous, make it Source, whatever you want. But those words, they hold power. That is what's being emphasized. Those words hold power. These are words of power that I've encountered in my life before. People have literally asked me if they could steal it. My perspective is if it helps people, it helps people. That's enough for me. But that it be something that people be exposed to because they are words of power. Every single one of us has been abused in some way, shape, or form in our life. Not all of us have been in abusive relationships, but we know someone who has. Whether that be with your job or your partner, your parent or your child. Abusive relationships are abusive relationships because of the devastation they leave in their wake in your life. The feeling of being trapped and powerless. The words of power are, you're comfortable in the misery because it's predictable. To step out into what you don't know is terrifying because you know how bad this is. And you have been conditioned to be in a state of fear, in a state of powerlessness. You can Google this. They do experiments where they show this in our kids, in school, in classrooms. It is a part of human nature. Groupthink. To stand up and be a counter voice amongst many is a very dangerous, scary, and powerful thing. You make yourself a target. So, to fight this fear that keeps you moving out of what you know is awful into what maybe be worse or the same or, oh my gosh, maybe better. How long are you going to live your life and make all your decisions from a stance of fear? How long are you going to let it control you? How long are you going to let it make all of your decisions and basically not live your own life? Just let fear live it for you. Because I'm going to tell you, you're going to feel a lot of fear stepping out of the misery that you know, because at least you know it's predictable. You're going to have fear. That's what makes you a hero. It's what makes you a leader. Every hero is a hero because they are scared out of their mind. But to be where they are is unacceptable. And when you're in this new situation, this new dynamic, and maybe it's not better, maybe it's worse. Well, what was different? You take note of that. So the next time you do it, you make sure those factors aren't present. You learn, but you never close your heart. You never give up hope, and you never stop having faith that the next moment, the next time, you will have learned more and it will be better. You will have more opportunity to be in a state of joy. But you know yourself. In this process, you learn who you are, and you become that peaceful warrior. Until eventually, when you take that chance and embrace a change, it's everything that you could possibly desire and more. Challenges, trials, and chaos. But there's more joy than you've experienced before. There's more consistency, more stability. It's better, it's healthier, it's stable. But there's still chaos. There's still challenge. You're still growing. Stagnancy. That is what fear does to us. It creates stagnant lives. When you're a light being, you are part of everything. You are separate from nothing, and yet you are unique. You are your own black sheep. Value your strength, and take moments where you are finding yourself triggered into an emotion or a thought process or a remembering or wounding. Know that it is the challenge, and in overcoming that, you retake your power from it. You become that black sheep even more. So that someday you will be in that situation with others going, why? Why should we listen to you? Why are you speaking? Over everyone, we could all hear you. Why you? You have to do the work. You have to be that peaceful warrior. It's not always easy. Sometimes it downright sucks. But you're always connected to love. You're always connected to Source. You're never on the outside wondering what love is. And that is what it's all about. The love that takes the void and creates. That gives spark to the void and creates. The divine within me. The love within me honors and sees the love, the divine within you. Namaste.